Hello, party people. So, you want to be a trophy hunter for PlayStation? Or you're thinking about it. You want to learn more about it. This video was not prepared. It's organized in my mind, but do I actually have notes? No, I do not. Do I wish I did? Maybe. We'll see how this video turns out. It's another episode of our podcast here. Let me put it this way. Are you trying to get that #1 spot in the world? Do you just want to do it casually? Do you just want to have fun? I'm going to tell you right now, I do not recommend being a trophy hunter with the current trophy system. Now, does that mean, this is just the rumors here, if and when with PlayStation 6, if and when, what if they had their own different trophy system specifically for PS6 and maybe above? Everyone would be on the same playing field. Everyone would be on the same level. But what about all that other shit that happened with your 4,000 other trophies, right? What happens to those? The best, think about this. I don't know your income situation. I don't know. Do you appreciate the fun, the joy that trophy hunter sounds like to you? Because I'll tell you this. There's one thing to think that a trophy hunter is glamorous, that companies just throw sponsorships at you just to support your trophy hunting. And that is not the case. I'll tell you that's not my case. No one's contacting me for anything like that. But can it be fun? For some people it can be. For some people it's a combination of fun, like dopamine and accomplishment and all these things you associate your trophy hunting to be with. Now I want to make this clear. At any point, this might seem obvious to some people. I don't think it is. Just because you start trophy hunting doesn't mean you can't stop anytime you want. No one's forcing you to do this. You didn't sign a contract with some company that said you're going to get over 16,000 platinums. You're going to play over 16,000 games and get the requirements for 100% in those 16,000 games. Okay. There's this thing called region stacking. I'll tell you right now. Let's say there's a game that costs $1, right? There's one PS4 version for $1 and a PS5 version for $1. So you've got 2 platinums right there, PS4 and PS5. Now, if you want to be competitive, if you really want to go for that #1 spot, I'm not holding you back. Maybe you want to ask around with your friends, your online friends who you game with, who are in God knows what part of the world. But region stacking. So let's say you change regions to the European store, right? You just got 2 more platinums. Change it to the China store. You just got 2 more platinums. North America, which I assume you're already in, maybe. You don't have to be. I think it's a Japan store. I know there is I'm not sure if the South America is in its own region, but anyway, the point is, out of those $2, you just turn it into an $8 game where you will get 8 platinums. Now, the problem with this is this. Some people can't turn a $2 game into $8. Now, what is that? That's a 400% increase in price. Now, it's not that some people can't afford to. They just don't want to, because that doesn't sound fun. What is the point of just video games in general if they're not fun? Is it some personal vendetta you have against a certain game? Maybe you've been following the series your entire life and you just want to focus on that for now. I'll tell you this. It's interesting how a lot of people don't remember their first 100%, their first platinum. A lot of people don't remember that. But what they do remember is the highest rank they attained. And we're specifically talking about trophy hunters here. Now, is the word in general, the term trophy hunter, play on words? Of course. We're not actually going around Africa hunting lions and tigers. That's not happening. My best advice is don't become a trophy hunter. It's not that you get addicted. It's that possibly, when is it going to be enough? At what point are you going to be like, okay, I've been doing this a long time, I don't want to do it anymore, which is perfectly valid. Do I know other trophy hunters who have quit? Or, they at the very least take a step back and just be like, yeah, I need a break. Like, I don't care what sale I miss, what platinums I miss at whatever sale price. I just need a fucking break. And there's nothing wrong with that. A lot of people will tell you that there is. You want to know why? When you commit to a goal, right? Do you commit all the way? Do you say, fuck it to everything else? This becomes your priority. Now, obviously, you're going to need some form of income, because you can't just pay for these games with experience points. Like, this is not a real world RPG. I don't think it's reasonable. Okay, so let me get my calculator out, right? So we turned that $1 game into 8 platinums, right? Because we spent $8 on it. So hypothetically, let's say there were 4,000 easy platinums, right? And you take 4,000 and you multiply it by 8. You have 32,000 right there. Is there 32,000? No. But if you look at, like, I would say in terms of easy platinum, if I had to pick a number, I would say there's about, this may or may not include region second. Let's say there's about, play on the safe side in terms of, this is about 100, right? So you take 100, you multiply it by 8, the 4 regions, and now you've got $800. So you just spent, now here's the thing, you just spent $800, right? This is assuming you have the time to get these platinums. I don't care how easy a game is, you still actually have to pay for it and turn the game on at the least. Some of these easy platinums are ridiculous cash grabs, and they're just meant to get your money, make a quick buck, and then get out. And they will just collect the royalties in the future of what is an easy platinum. How many trophy hunters are starting that little journey, and how can we take advantage of their wallets? If you're going for the number 1 spot, you are very much behind. And the thing about this is that it's going to take time. It's going to take time and income and resources. Now, if this doesn't sound fun to you, right? Don't do it. If you're not 100% committed, whether you have like your own YouTube channel and you want a video for every single platinum you get, right? Okay, that's gonna take time. Let's say you like to play basketball, so you go to the basketball court and you shoot around a little bit. That's gonna take time. Now, do you see what I'm getting here? If you're going for the number 1 spot, right? Does trophy hunting become your life? Is that your main hobby now? If you can even call it a hobby. is it a borderline obsession for you? Okay, so let's say you said, maybe a little, I'm considering it. If you're not 100% devoted to this, then okay, can you be casual? Of course you can be casual, right? Some people, we've discussed this on the channel before, quality versus quantity, or both. Now, I would say, me personally, I would say it's about 90% quantity and 10% quality. What do I mean by that? I'm saying that 90% of the games I play are easy platinums. Developers aren't even hiding it anymore. They're openly showing you that this is an easy game for you to get that dopamine, for you to get one tier higher to that spot of the top 10, maybe even that number 1 position. Okay. I still can't recommend it. It just... Okay, so let's look at quality, right? These are all the AAA games, the major releases, the IPs, basically the really hardcore Sony stuff. Because it's one thing to have a platinum that you can also play on a different platform like Xbox. I don't do Xbox Gamer Score. I don't have time to do that. I don't have the patience to do that. I don't have the resources to pay for another game to do that. And if it seems daunting right now, you are not prepared for how daunting it's going to seem later on. And the longer you take to decide on this commitment, the harder it's going to be to rank up. And my point with having other hobbies and stuff is this: figure out how important this is to you, right? Do you think you could see yourself doing this long term? And do things like social media help? If you want to flex, if you want to brag about whatever game you just platinumed, whether that be a AAA game that has a fucking deluxe super edition to it, or a less than $1 game like 50 fucking cents, or maybe even lower, it's not that 10% that makes people question whether they want to start trophy hunting or keep trophy hunting. It's that 90% of grinding, playing the same easy platinum 8 times, possibly 8 times. Let's say it's cross-buy. Okay, that's 4 times. Either way, it's between $4 to $8 per game. Now, I can name you like the series of platinums out there. You've got a Pogi, P-O-W-G-I. You got S-Mobile, pretty much any S-Mobile game. Radalaika, Game Tree. Now, how do I know all these developers? Do I have some inside source? No. I fucking use the PlayStation a lot. And I'm not homeless. I'm not homeless because I'm a trophy hunter. Okay, if you're going to start trophy hunting, I would highly suggest you talk about this with an older gamer. Maybe a friend of a friend, like maybe your friend's parents, like maybe one of them plays PlayStation casually. I want you to go up to them and be like this: I'm thinking about trying this new hobby. It's going to take a little bit of investment over time, but I think I can do it. Okay, so stop right there, right? Stop. What did you just say? You said, I think I can do it. If you're going into this thinking you can do it, You picked the wrong hobby, man. Because if you're seriously, no, in all seriousness, considering, if you're going for that number one spot, what happens to those games you tried to start this journey with? What happens to those? Are you going to replay them? Probably not. Is it nice to have it in your library in case company comes over for something? Of course. Those people playing PlayStation with you are not necessarily trophy hunters. I want you to think about that. So, is this worth your time? Do you want to make it worth your time? And it's just, I wish I could explain it to people better. But the point is, there's something about going into a GameStop. You look around and you'd be like, everyone in the store right now, if you combined all their trophies, I'll bet it doesn't add up to more platinums that I alone have. Now, is that flexing? Of course. Does it make me feel accomplished with a video game? Does it make me feel that I'm a better gamer than every single person in the store right now? If everyone in that store had a PSN profile, the odds of me being higher than them is pretty fucking high. Now, let's say you just want to break in the country. You want to break top 500. Completely doable. Is it going to take some time? Yes. But here's the thing about trophy hunting. The more time you take to wait to start this hobby, the further back you're falling behind. Now, I'm not telling you to micromanage this shit, right? I'm saying that it helps. Now, I would show you guys my spreadsheet, but there's a lot of notes I have on it. And I took an inventory of all the games I have, or think I have, that are not achieved with the platinum or 100% yet. Now, I also have another list of, this is organized by platform, PS3, PS4, PS5, etc., even PS Vita. What do you want to accomplish for this? Now, I'm not saying I think you can't make it. What I'm saying is that I don't think you should start. You're going to be, if you're starting from 0 or even just one platinum, 100%, if you're starting from that, right? You're starting from scratch basically. And you got that platinum and it's like, holy shit, what is this? I just got a platinum in this game. I did like every fucking thing in this game, and this is my reward. Do people care about this stuff? It depends who you ask. Are there people that care about this? Are there people who make this intertwined with their social media, etc.? Of course. Now, let's use me as an example, right? I have over 4,000 platinums, right? In today's day and age of sales, right? In the PlayStation Store, for example, it's not going to be cheap. You might think it's going to be cheap. Things add up. And there's nothing wrong assuming you have a different source of income. You have a day job and you just do this shit at night when you come home from work. That, I will say, is casual and healthier and more realistic than starting from that one platinum to try to get up to 16,000, where I think the number one spot has that many in the world. What country do you live in, right? That you think you could rank high in the country rank? Do you think in your country there's not that many PlayStation players? It's just some costly hobby that you might have, but maybe it's slightly more affordable in a different region. I don't know. I haven't lived in these other regions. I haven't gamed in these other regions. Now, when is enough enough? This is a question I've been trying to ask even myself. Like, how far are you willing to take this? How obsessive, how dedicated, how maybe even addicted do you want to be to pursue this hobby, to pursue this goal? Because if you've been telling yourself ever since your first platinum 100%, I'm going to get that number one spot. I'm going to do whatever the fuck it takes to get there. I admire your enthusiasm, right? Don't do it. Just think about it. If you stopped trophy hunting, right? Would it change your life for the better? Now, most people will say, in some ways it does, in some ways it doesn't. Why is that? Because you wouldn't start becoming a trophy hunter unless you had valid reasons. Maybe you think it's fun, maybe you want to take it casually. But again, if you want that number one spot, you can't take this casually. More games are going to be released in the amount of time it takes you to get those games. You're going to be falling further and further behind. Because you know those top 10 in the world? What do you think they're doing? How many hours do you think they spend on a PlayStation per day? How many of them have teams? How many people out there are willing to not have the spotlight so you can help that one main guy with their trophy hunting? He is the only one that gets the glory, that gets to be, arguably PlayStation famous, right? So that begs the question, like, even if you assembled a team, or even if you became part of a team, how valuable are you to that goal? If your other, like, let's say your three other friends, right, who are helping you, get these trophies, maybe you're game sharing, you're doing this for fun. Even if you got a really hard AAA trophy, right? A very admirable, a very holy shit, I haven't seen someone with this platinum before. Let me look them up. Who gets credit? Who gets credit for getting that AAA platinum? Let's assume it wasn't you. It was, friend number 1, for example. So friend number 2 and 3 are there, and they're thinking, I could have helped do that. But instead, I was playing this easy-ass platinum that nobody gives a fuck about. It's just stat padding. That's entirely what it is. If you look at basketball especially, at what point are you just getting trophies for the sake of getting trophies? At what point are you like, okay, this is going to make me feel better about myself? And there's nothing wrong with that, because you're not homeless. You clearly have access to the internet right now. And obviously, there's probably a roof over your head. Now, assuming you're in a stable life situation, is trophy hunting viable? Of course. What I want to emphasize is this. There is a difference between casually trophy hunting, seeing how far you can take certain goals or hobbies of yours, versus going for that number one spot. It's not impossible. At this point of PlayStation's longevity, I don't see how it's remotely possible. Unless, if money is not an object to you, if money is not a deterrent, if your skill level at playing video games is, average, above average, maybe. Because let me tell you right now, if you were a prodigy at fighting games, right, like Street Fighter, let's say you're a prodigy at playing the game. You play whatever character and you do esports. People notice you playing, and they're like, on YouTube or TikTok or whatever, and they're like, holy shit, this dude is really good at this game. okay, you just got that dopamine, right? And it said people are recognizing how good you are. At that, there's a little intersection at that point. There's one road that goes left and one road that goes right. If you're competitive, if you're above average, if you're prodigy level at Street Fighter, do you think you have time to waste on trophy hunting? Think about it. You can either have that number one spot and possibly get no sponsorships or anyone who cares about your number one spot. You just want it for bragging rights. But will you make more income? Will you gain more fame from being in esports? Because believe it or not, esports take practice. Esports take a mastery of a game. And there's a lot of fighting games that are very similar. They have the same mechanics. They have a very similar combo system, etc. If you are a prodigy, I feel like you wouldn't be watching this video. You wouldn't. As a prodigy, I can't speak for myself, but other people that you may or may not know, other friends, maybe someone at school or whatever, or even someone, a coworker, even if you're a little bit older. I'll get to that point about being a little bit older. But anyway, for now, let me just say this. How bad do you want it? Do you remember on the UFC, the, what is the Ultimate Contender or something like that? Do you remember that speech Dana White gave to the residents of that reality TV show that tried to find the next big fighter? The best of the best in this current crop of people. How bad do you want it? Are you willing to spend the money to, I don't want to say socially isolate yourself, but will getting trophies become more important to you than the other aspects of your life that are supposed to be fun? Whether that be hanging out with friends, PlayStation gaming, Xbox gaming, sports, like real life sports. We're not talking about video game sports here. How important are those things? More important, how much money can you make from those things? At some point, there has to be a return on your investment, right? So at some point, a sponsorship may or may not contact you, right? I don't know, because I've never had a sponsorship, but I've heard things. So, would it be nice? Would it be nice for some random company to call me up and be like, hey, can you put like a 30-second spot of you advertising our product, and we will get your channel more popular and you'll be compensated? That's great. How often do you think that happens? That doesn't happen all the time. And even if it does, you need that one number one spot to have the most success at getting sponsorships and whatnot. You need that number one spot. Now, why do you need that number one spot? What does that spot have to do with making money? Let me put it this way. When you're at that number one spot, do people know your name? If they find out who you are, your rank, the diversity and assortment of whatever trophies you may or may not have, are you arguably famous? Are you arguably famous in a fucking video game? I mean, it's one thing to chase a dream, right? It's another thing to chase a pipe dream. And what I mean by pipe dream, something you probably will never attain or get, or even anywhere close to. Now, if you make top 25, top 10, that's pretty good. You should not necessarily be satisfied by that. You should be inspired to do even better. if you're not going to take this seriously, it's probably not worth your time. Now, you've heard me use this term the whole time. Can you be casually a trophy hunter? Of course. But you can't be a casual trophy hunter and try to get that number one spot. It's impossible. It's 100% impossible. And to not be spending over that much money on one game that's not cross-buy, that's not going to auto-pop, not only is it going to take income, it's going to take that most valuable resource of all, time. It is going to take you a ridiculous amount of hours. And we're just talking being awake hours. We're not talking about losing sleep. We're not talking about organizing your team with your friends or whatever. It's just, at some point, your friends are going to be like, hey man, like, I did the majority of this platinum to you. You know, can you shout me out? Can you shout out my YouTube channel? Can you recommend people my PlayStation profile? Because they're allowed to do whatever the fuck they want. If they have some agreement with you, whether that be monetary or not, an agreement is an agreement. At some point, are they going to want a piece of that glory? It's a matter of time. If you're producing platinum after platinum, and you have to ask, am I getting results? Does it make sense to keep doing this? And if you don't know the answer to that, I don't mean to be blunt or too harsh about it, but if you're a trophy hunter right now, and like I can't even tell you guys like how long it's taken me to get 1,000 platinums. Like, we're just not 4,000, just any bracket of 1,000, 0 to 1,000, 1,000 to 1 and 2,000, etc. It's those little brackets of trophies, right? How long do you think that's taken me? How long do you think easy platinums were even a thing? How long has it been since My Name is Mayo? When those floodgates opened, did you get overwhelmed or did you ride that fucking wave? And if you think you're not going to fall off that surfboard, if you're on that surfboard riding that wave, right? How bad do you want this? If you're on that surfboard and you embrace it, you say, you know, fuck this. I don't care how long it's going to take. I don't care how much money it's going to take. I'm going to get more platinums than so-and-so. Let's say you're in the top 1,000 right now, right? In the country. You look at number 999. You're going to be like, can I get more platinums than that guy? Let's assume you do. You accomplish something. Now, a question you have to consider is that enough to keep me going to go even higher on the ranks, on the leaderboards? Now, people have told me that I have a very healthy way of looking at trophies, trophy hunting in general. Now, do I occasionally touch grass? Do I occasionally go outside? Do I have a life? Do I have a reliable source of income, etc.? I'm not saying you need those things. I'm saying they will help a lot. Let's be real. If you spend 8 hours in your room with the window shut and your curtains pulled down and you're in the fucking dark there and you're fucking trying to get an easy platinum, you're playing a fucking Rattle-like-a game when you could be doing something more productive. But does productivity reflect trophy hunting? What's more impressive? Getting a very rare platinum that you've played out of like 100 games, or having 100 PlayStation Platinum trophies for a random group of 100 games? What do you think is more impressive? Now, I'm not telling you there's a right or wrong answer. I'm telling you, you have to decide that. I can't make this decision for you. Your friends can't make this decision for you. You gotta ask yourself, Was I being serious when I dreamt that I could even be competitive for that number one spot? That I might even make top 10. If that is your goal, more power to you. But I'm just saying, if you were to give up that goal, is the time you spent for yourself, is it a waste of time? Was it a waste of time? A waste of resources? If you can foresee yourself saying that and getting burned out, don't do it. I don't mean to crush anyone streaming here or whatever, but don't do it. It's not worth it. And it's not me saying you're not good enough. It's me saying there's 39 people right now ahead of me who have figured this out long before I figured it out. Like, if possible, find a top 100 trophy hunter, like, you know, online on social media, etc. Go on YouTube and find someone who shares their rank on an often basis through PSN profiles, for example. Look at their rank on that website. See if you can contact them. See if they tell you the same thing I'm telling you right now. It might be a variation of it. They might have their own spin on it. There's certain things that any trophy hunter has in common with PlayStation at all. Now, do you think you need to play online to get certain platinums? Of course. Of course. So, now you're adding a new element to the recipe, right? You're adding socializing. And for some gamers out there, that is very, very difficult for them. Maybe there's some gamers out there who become video gamers, trophy hunters, because they can't socialize. Because this is all they have. Now, that's a very sad story, but it is a reality for many trophy hunters out there. In terms of society, is this helping society? Or is it helping me finally entering society? What is it going to take for you to go, like, on your PlayStation and find a group, look for online, search for a group of people who want to play a certain game with you so that all of you guys can share the platinum? Now, whether those other guys are trophy hunters or not, that doesn't matter. What matters is that you're actually talking to other people. I know it's online, so it might not be as impressive. Maybe some people don't even consider it real. It still requires socialization. And people think the only thing that matters with trophy hunting is trophies. I understand why. It's a valid point. What are you going to do about those trophies you have to play online with other people? What are you going to do about that game you need the disc for, a physical copy for, in order to make a platinum much easier? Because when you put that disc in, right, you can actually log off and make your PlayStation offline. And you put that disc in and you play version 1.0 of that game. No fixes, no edits, nothing. When you play that game and it becomes easier to get that platinum, nobody has to know about that, because it, as of right now, it doesn't tell you on the PlayStation interface, the UI at least, how long it took for you to get that platinum. It'll have a timestamp on it, but it won't give you an exact number of hours and minutes and seconds. Are you okay with that? If you are, that's great. Do you need a team at this point in the PlayStation life cycle to get to that number one spot? It's going to help a lot. It will help so much. Like, do you have a common goal? Do you have a commonality with so-and-so? Let's say you actually become friends with so-and-so. And, like, it's cool because you guys are talking about platinums and shit. Maybe at a certain point you're talking about life. You're talking about your families, you're talking about your friends, and you're just sharing, you're having a conversation. Some people can't do that. I want you to realize this. Some people can't just be like, hey, what's up? Do you know how hard that is for some people? Now, trophy hunting is not an isolated hobby, that goal, whatever. It can be. That's the problem. It encourages players to play these easy platinum $1 games or so, and isolate themselves. Because those developers, right? Do they care whether you touch grass or not? Do they care whether you have a social life or not? In terms of a business, all they want is your cash money. And people need to realize this. And is there a dark side to all this? I mean, like, there can be. What if you met someone who's unstable and they begin to obsess over you? Do you want that attention? Do you think you can be polite enough to be like, hey, you know, like, I don't just trophy hunt all the time, even if that's a lie, right? Even that's not the truth, right? Whose business is it? Your trophy hunting is your own business. I'm not talking about a financial company business. I'm talking about knowledge about. I'm saying your trophy hunting hobby, right? How many people know about it? How many people need to know about it? You shouldn't be embarrassed about your trophy list. And I'll tell you why I'm not, despite whatever 90% of easy platinums I have on there. I haven't done this in a long time. I'm going to tell you what Russell Westbrook would say here. Russell Westbrook is on the Sacramento Kings right now. Not exactly the most glamorous place to end up currently. So, if someone asks, right? If someone asks Russ, what do you think? What do you think about people who criticize, you know, that you're stat padding, that you're taking advantage of the region stacking? If you think this is so easy, do it yourself. Why don't you do it? If this is so easy to get platinum, over 4,000 platinums, why don't you do it? If it's that easy, you do it. You go find a group of friends. Like, you have a team. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You can game share, etc. If it's so easy, why isn't everyone doing it? Why isn't there? Why is there only like a what? How many PSN profiles are there? If you're working on it, and you're looking at what the top, I don't know how far back to the top 10,000, top 1,000, whatever. Like, who are you willing to screw over to get higher? And it doesn't have to be that way, but is that a reality for some people? Yeah. And I earnestly and honestly feel bad for some of those people, because they might not necessarily have a video game addiction. How soon will it take for that to become something worse, like a gambling addiction, like something unintended that is not healthy for someone, especially minors, to be doing? Because you could get catfished, you could get scammed. You don't know if the person you're talking to is a serial killer or not. Most likely, percentage-wise, they're probably not. They're probably some normal person who just, you know, gets whatever trophies. You can't half-ass this. If you want the number one spot, you can't half-ass this. And like the majority of the audience for this podcast episode, I want them to think this is something I can do, but it's whether I should or want to do it. Just being able to do something doesn't mean you should do it, no matter how glamorous or goals, like dream setting it can be. Nobody buys a PlayStation, right? And go like, this is the start of my trophy hunting. Nobody says that. Nobody picks up a PlayStation 5, they buy it from the store and say like, I'm gonna get as many easy platinums as I can get so I can show off on PSN profiles. Who does that? If you're buying a PlayStation for that reason, you're buying a PlayStation for the wrong reasons. A console is meant to give you opportunities to have fun. Can trophy hunting be fun? It depends on the person. You are not every person out there. You are you. You are unique, and you are just exploring your options, right? There's nothing wrong with that. Stop thinking about things like, if I could have did this 5 years ago, if I could have started with the Vita and PS3, where would I be now? How is thinking about that going to affect your present and your future? Do you think that the majority of the top 100 of trophy hunters, do you think they all started with PlayStation 3? Do you think they all started with Vita? There's one way to find out. You go to the bottom of their trophy list and you see which console those games are on. I guarantee you'll find some people who only started with the PlayStation 4. I guarantee you. And that's sort of what I had to do. I say had like it's my fucking job, but like at this point it might be. No, I have earnestly said that no matter what, this is still a hobby for me. And I truly believe that, even though other people think it's an obsession, but they don't understand. And what they need to realize is, if this is so easy, then why don't you do it? If this is a waste of time, you're telling me you could become PlayStation famous. You're just not willing to put the effort in. It doesn't matter to you. So, if it doesn't matter to you, why the fuck will what I'm doing matter to you? If you consider what I'm doing unhealthy, why are you in my business? Think about that for a second. If you say you have a hobby and they don't want to encourage you about it, to be supportive with you about it, that's probably not a good person to be hanging out with. I hate to say it like that. There's one thing about a person defining reality for you, defining human interaction for you, versus a person who is accepting of your hobbies, etc. Even if you had only one hobby and you didn't care about anything else, to an extent, should you be socializing, be doing healthy things, join a fucking place, join a video game club. There's fucking charities about video games out there. Like I've sponsored most of them. Like up there, there's been charities that I do here. And you know what? Every single month, I meet that goal. I make sure that goal gets hit. And you know what's going to happen one day? One day, someone is going to donate to that goal. Someone. And you see that from this right here. This address right here. Like, one day, someone's going to type that in. They're going to copy and paste it. And someone's going to donate to a charity of my choice. Now, I'm not telling you how to use your PlayStation. I'm not telling you how to be altruistic about your PlayStation gaming. But if you think you're sort of like screwing other people over about whatever you might be interested in, that sounds like a guilty conscience to me. Because at the end of the day, a game is a game, and a spade is a spade. Think about that for a second. think about what potential money, what potential Guinness Book of World Records record. How important are those for you? At some point, it's when you're using Streamlabs or like, there's a lot of trophy hunters out there who don't talk about this stuff on their social media. Let's say they have a YouTube channel. They don't necessarily have to talk about their PlayStation hobby. Even their PlayStation obsession. Like, there's no reason you should be forced to talk about something you don't want to talk about. So, if you had the choice, right, to talk to someone else about gaming in general, that's your choice. Whether you want to mention to them, hey, look at my profile, I have X number of this, whatever. That's your choice. Now, does that stop other people from looking your screen name up? Unfortunately, no. But how bad do you want this? Because last time I checked, the people who make it high on that leaderboard, they don't give up. Now, is it normal to question continuing said hobby? Of course. Whether you actually quit, take a break, or whatever, keep going. Whether you keep going at fucking 100% and you're knocking the shit out night after night after night. Because you know what you're not doing if you're doing the latter? If you're doing the latter, right, and your social life is suffering because of this, how bad do you want this? And if this is so easy, is half-assing it gonna make it easy? Because you gotta half-ass with some easy platinums out there where you just decide, I don't want to do region second. I'm gonna blind myself into thinking that I can do all this with just PS4, PS5 games in North America. Who the fuck do you think says that? Who says that I can casually take that number one spot? How many people actually say that thinking it's true? Because it's not. I'm telling you, I don't mean to shatter anyone's dream. I don't mean to shatter the illusion, but it's not exactly glamorous. It's not exactly famous. It's borderline not even lucrative. And how important to you are bragging rights? How important is that feeling that you get when you walk into the electronics department of a certain retail store and you can safely say, I have more platinums than this entire store combined. Every person in that store right then and there, if you combine all the trophies, you have more platinums than them combined. Every single other person. I'm not saying that's dopamine inducing. For me it is. But it's also a drug. For me, I don't want to call it an unhealthy addiction. I call it a healthy addiction. Because I'm talking to you right now, right? I'm not deluded. I'm not chasing some impossible dream with some personal vendetta that I need to settle with anyone. But if being better at video games was defined by how far you are into a console's achievement and trophy system, the person with more of those achievements and trophies, are they a better player than the person without? And you have to ask yourself that. You have to ask yourself, like, I don't know, man, like, people think this is easy, and like the late nights, the fucking, I don't know, man, like budgeting, like fucking, I want to say there's a lot of stress, but if you're trying to go for a platinum and you're just having a really hard time with it, for some people that stress is a lot worse than the stress that they can't get 1,000 platinums. Now, it's not that I can't get it, they would prefer to get a certain one that is difficult to get. And there's nothing wrong with that. You play your PlayStation however the fuck you want to play it. No one is forcing you. No one's saying, hey, if you buy this PlayStation, I'll buy it for you if you become #1 in the world on PSN profiles. Who the fuck says that? Nobody says that to their kids. Nobody. This is not a professional sport. Esports, are they professional sports? I guess so. Sure, why not? Just sitting in the dark in your room trying to get these easy ass platinums, right? These garbage ass shovelware platinums. Is that unhealthy? I mean, to a certain extent, some people will say yes. Now, if you realize that doing something like that doesn't sound fun to you, doesn't sound appealing, doesn't sound worth your time, then don't become a trophy hunter. Don't do it. Because you're not going to get far, and you're going to waste a lot of money. You're going to waste, more important, a lot of fucking time when you could be out with your friends doing some bullshit that you shouldn't be doing because you're too goddamn old. Let's say you just finished college, right? And you're doing shit you used to do in high school. Do you know what I mean? Like going outside and what? Like putting some graffiti on a wall. Is that more enjoyable than sitting in the dark playing your PlayStation? I'm not saying there's a definitive answer, but if you want that #1 spot, you have to be serious and dedicated about that. And you better damn be sure that you aren't going to give up. Now, I'm not saying not take a break, because you know how certain people have hobbies, right? Sometimes they're really dedicated to it, or like they get a spark and they're like, I'm going to knock this shit out. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. In a certain amount of time, I'm going to set goals for myself, and I'm going to hit them because this is important to me. Is that not something some people would consider good? How does the number of trophies you have make you a better person? How does it make you a better human being? All I know is this. I will conclude with this. If you have to scratch, bite, and climb over everyone else to get closer to that #1 spot, you're going to have to get through me first. I want you to think about that. Take care of yourselves and each other, guys.